Jake Nyman Show. That's kind of weird to say. We're here today to talk about business and faith and fun, all from the great city of Tacoma, the city of destiny.
Yeah.
And my name is Jake Nyman. Named the show after myself because I couldn't come up with something more creative. And we're here with my brother Joe. I figured it would be no better place to start from than having my own brother on the podcast.
How you doing, people?
To talk about a little bit of business, a little bit of faith, maybe family, a little bit of fun. So let's jump off, Joe.
Okay.
And let's. I think we should talk first about our mom.
Okay. Diving right into it.
Let's do it. Our mom passed away almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
Actually, just this weekend, it would be 10 years, wouldn't it?
Yeah. 10
Pretty
years
close.
For her birthday tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And she was a crazy, amazing woman.
Yeah, she was.
We loved her. She died of cancer. So we both have that going for us that we have.
Well, hopefully it'll skip a generation.
Yeah.
That's usually what they say. Well, that does not help our children, does it?
No, we don't want it to skip a generation. That would be worse.
Let's just have it skip in general.
Skip in general. Yeah, F cancer, right? That's what we all think.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if you would share one of your favorite stories about our mom and something you remember that kind of sticks out for you, and see if I remember the same story about her.
Yeah, there were so many stories with her, but, some of the camping trips and things like that.
Yeah.
But she was always just so go, 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 kind of like how we are, actually. I think that's a lot where we get it. But some of those trips to Vegas were definitely some of the funnest times. And she always dragged us all over. She always had us with her.
She did. Sometimes unseatbelted, laying in the back of the car.
Well, that was our generation. Nowadays, these kids got to have like 16 different seatbelts and stuff. So
Right.
Such a different world.
It is a different world. I was thinking about the time when Mom was driving, and I've told my kids this too. She was driving along in the town where we grew up, little town in the Skagit Valley. She was driving along, and she's like, "You want to see how fast this car can go, boys?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so she's like, "All right, I'll stomp on it." And so we're like, "Sweet, what does that mean?"
Which car was this?
I think the Beretta.
Oh, okay.
I think she had it was the Chevy Beretta.
Yeah,
you remember that? The red
yeah.
one? She thought that thing was hot stuff.
That was kind of a cool car, actually.
It was kind of a cool car. It'd probably be a cool car now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so she's like, "I'll just step on it." And we're like right over by the school of all places. And she steps on it, and there was a cop sitting right there. And I remember, I wish we could show a picture of Mom on the podcast here, but Mom was a pretty woman. She was beautiful. And I remember the cop pulls her over, and then he comes up, and I think I'm sitting in the front seat, and you and Jeremiah, our other brothers, in the back, and he walks up and he's like, "Do you realize how fast you're going?" She's like, "Yeah, I just told the boys I was going to stomp on it." He's like, "By a school?" And then she gave him a smile and a wink, and he was like, "Yeah, just slow down."
Yeah.
And off he went. So,
Yeah, she was a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated that about her. And then also, like, do you remember her trying to start her own business?
Yeah.
A few different things.
Hey, that brings up a good memory.
Yeah.
Remember the business that she had where we had to deliver legal papers?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Process serving.
Yeah, process serving, which is papers you don't want to receive. Well, she would have us go up to the door and
help.
knock.
Yep.
First,
Yep.
because the people always answer the door for kids.
Yeah.
And then she would come up and
Like,
give them
"Are
the
you
paper.
selling candy?" Nope.
No. This is bad news.
Sorry. We're not selling candy. We're selling divorce papers.
Yeah, exactly.
Though we didn't really know what was going on. And
No, not at all.
And we weren't that small, but we were still kids.
Yes, but if you think about it, it's a good strategy because that's the problem with process servers is they can't get people to answer the doors.
Right.
So that solves that issue.
Right. So, Joe, let's transition into what you do for work. So you're a locksmith. You do car unlocks.
Yep.
You do house unlocks.
We do rekeys, safes. We've had quite a few safes lately, actually. And a lot of, it seems like lately what we've been dealing with is the police are so busy. People are bored. So many people are breaking into houses or breaking into stuff. So we're having to come in and kind of, I'm not saying we're the police or anything, but almost play detective of what's going on and how to solve the issue of constantly getting broken into, especially in houses.
Right.
So actually, I'll be dealing with that after this. A few bullet holes and stuff in somebody's window.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of things do you come across? Like, I mean, you see the general public like at its time when, people are maybe not at their worst, but they've certainly been,
sometimes.
some of them it's their worst.
Yeah.
What's that like?
After doing this for 20 years, some of the new guys that I have, they definitely get a little timid and, some don't want to work nights and things like that. I've been doing it for so long, and back when Tacoma wasn't the best, city in the world 20 years ago, it was a lot different.
A little rougher.
Yeah, than it is now.
It was a little rougher, yeah.
And this week we had a section of mailboxes, 22 section of mailboxes at a apartment complex broken into. Actually, they got broken into last night again. We tried to seal it up, but they just continuously just keep getting broken into. So we're probably going to move the whole entire mailbox section.
So not just a locksmith.
No,
not just
not
doing
at all.
Unlocking cars. I mean,
No.
So what's something like a story that kind of sticks out to you, Joe? I mean, obviously these things that are happening recently are interesting, but what's something that kind of sticks out to you where it was a little unexpected or something just didn't turn out quite like you thought it was going to?
Sure. Well, this story that I'll share, I mean, I have so many different stories, holy smokes, but the story that I'll share right now is actually of a different technician. This guy was with me for 8 years.
Right.
A really good tech, taught me a lot of stuff. And, through locksmithing, you kind of have to learn as you go. There's no like master locksmith, if you will. You're always learning. And that's in any field in this world.
Right.
But he was sent out to do a safe. It's in a person's house. It was a lady that called. He goes into the house, starts opening the safe, checked all the proper paperwork. She legally lived there and everything.
Yeah.
About half hour into breaking open the safe, somebody shows up and puts a gun to the back of his head. And, he's confused of why.
Yeah.
He stands up, realizes once the person introduces himself that it's actually his safe. It's the father of the daughter. The daughter called
to have it open.
She lived there, but she was on drugs trying to break open her father's safe, which we were doing. So it did not turn out real well. But no shots were fired or anything like that. Nobody was hurt. He just left, and we solved everything. So kind of a scary one there.
Yeah, those don't happen every day.
No.
Yeah. What about Tacoma that you've seen change in 20 years? Like back when you first started in, doing locksmithing and doing on your own, what's the biggest change that you've seen?
As far as the city itself, I mean, my goodness, so many people from California and Seattle are moving down here now, so it's changing in such a positive way. People care about their properties more. People care about the way they, their yards look and things like that. So it's just definitely upgrading. It's becoming more livable. That's why the rental prices and property prices are going up so much, is all because of these things. People want to live here.
Are you happy about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just so
There were
much
some
different.
rough parts of
When
Tacoma.
I was like 18, 19 and my son was born, I worked for a company called Pizza Time, which is still around. There's only a few left. One of the best pizza places in downtown Puyallup. And I had to wear all red. I had to deliver in Hilltop, and my car was red, and I was 19, little white guy. Did not turn out well.
That didn't go very well. No, I'm sure it didn't go very well. Well, Joe, I think it's fun to reminisce about old stuff, and, talk about mom and about stories. But how, you and I have been doing business and trying to help, grow your business and stuff. What kind of things have you and I been working on that you've seen kind of help push your business forward and get you more exposure, more calls, more clients, and all that kind of stuff? What have you seen that's been helping?
And just a shout out to Jake. I've turned to him for so many different issues over the years. My business feels like it's doing better than ever. It's really doing well. And you've helped me so much in so many different areas. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But just getting advice for you. But one of the big things we did a couple of years ago was we turned to another guy to kind of get more exposure on Google, if you will.
Yeah.
But that is such a key thing in any business nowadays. Nobody uses the phone book. When I first opened this business, all I had to do was just put an ad in the phone book. One ad in the phone book. The bigger the the bigger the ad, the more exposure, the more calls you
just
got.
make your phone number as big as possible.
Yeah, still to this day, I still get a few calls just from running the phone book for like 7 or 8 years in a row. But
Yep.
everything's based on Google now.
Those 85-year-olds that still have
They
their
really
phone
do.
books.
Yeah. And then when I get there and like unlock their house or their car or something, I'll go in and get paid, and they'll have the phone book sitting out wide open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I
You're
just
like,
think
"Look
to
at that
myself,
thing."
I haven't done that, and I haven't advertised through a phone book in 8-10 years. Holy
Right.
smokes.
Right. They're just holding on to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you still have the same phone number.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a big key too. Holy smokes. Keeping the same phone number for, 25 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not advertising in the phone book, but you have to advertise on Google. But for like a small business, someone who's, sometimes a one-man show, or you've got a couple guys working for you or whatever, how do you advertise and how are you getting yourself on Google?
Sure. So we built the website, me and you built it in 2009, which is kind of right around the time people started building websites. We're a little bit ahead of the curve as far as other competitive locksmiths. I mean, the older guys, the locksmiths that are still in business, they created their websites around the same time.
They have a web presence, but
Yes.
it's not doing anything for them.
Sure.
Right,
And you and another guy have taught me how to actually add pages to my website, which is very key. Learning how to, it's kind of like a 2-part job. Realistically, I do like 10 jobs every single day. It never ends.
Right.
And one of those is adding pages to the website almost on a daily basis. It becomes a lot to do that, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're adding pages to the website, but what does that do?
It makes more of a presence on Google. So you can pick keywords to attack. Everybody's different. Every human's different. Some people, if they're locked out of their car, they might say vehicle lockout. Some people might say Tacoma locksmith if they're in Tacoma. Some people might be in Puyallup and still say Tacoma locksmith. So there's thousands of different words for every little key feature that they're looking for. So the more of those words that you attack and the more of that presence, then the more calls you're going to get.
Right. Right.
And that's just organics. Now you start going to all these other things, it's just a whole different ballgame.
Yep. If you're on Yelp or if you're through one of the digital yellow books now,
Google ads.
And doing Google ads,
Yeah.
or what about Facebook and Instagram? I noticed you've done a little bit on Instagram recently. How did that come about? Like, how did you decide to do that?
Well,
on Instagram?
actually, one of your employees about 10 years ago, he actually started telling me to do Instagram ads. I didn't even know what Instagram was, to be honest, up until like 2-3 years ago. I'm just not super computer savvy. But he started telling me to do stuff like that, Facebook. To be honest, I haven't had, in my field, I think in a lot of people's fields, Facebook ads and stuff like that would be really good for like contractors and things like that, which I am somewhat of a contractor. But in the locksmith field, most people want it now. They want it today.
They're not scheduling it out in the future. Right.
Which we do get booked out for rekeys on houses and businesses and stuff. But for the most part, we try to center on, hey, it's an emergency type situation. That's what this business is focused on.
Right.
So, those kind of ads, I just like posting videos on Instagram just because they're kind of funny and all the weird stuff that I come across.
Right.
So.
Yeah. What's something weird that you came across recently that you're like, wow,
this week was kind of a funny one. Excuse me. I've been doing a bunch of work for this one lady. Well, it's a lady, but it's her mom, and she owns kind of like a big property, like 5 acres right in the east side of Tacoma, which still isn't the best area. Still isn't the best neighborhood, but she's had a few break-ins. Well, in her detached garage, she used to be a nurse. She was a nurse for like 20 years, and she hasn't really used her garage in like 10 years. And so in the back of her car, she has a bunch of those dummies, if you will, that look like kind of like humans, but they're in bags. Well, these people kept breaking into her place. Well, they broke in about a week ago in the pitch black, dark. Probably have a couple flashlights. They break in, try to pop the batteries out, which they succeeded, pop the trunk of the car, open the trunk, and there's a bunch of nice bags in there.
Right.
They take out one of the bags, and there's a mannequin in it.
Right.
And the mannequin, it's pitch black. You can picture this. And the mannequin falls on the ground and scares the crap out of them. They take out running.
They think it's a real person.
They probably do because the house looks vacant, you know? They're
And it
probably
looks like
thinking,
there's bodies in the trunk. Oh my gosh!
I did
You
a
imagine?
I did
Oh
a
my
funny little
gosh.
Instagram. I couldn't be live to do it, but we've
Yeah.
also had a few like police situations where the police have actually needed our assistance because technically if a police officer gets called out, somebody's inside a building, they don't have the right to just enter into the building and break the door down.
Right.
So
right.
lots of times they have to have us, or if you're evicting somebody. So we've had quite a few of those lately, especially with the COVID thing going on.
Right, right. And we are not attorneys. We are not giving legal advice. We'll just say that up front.
Not at all.
We're just sharing our experiences. That's good. That's good. Well, I've been helping you for quite a few years.
Yeah.
It's coming along.
What all do you got going on? You got some major stuff going
Yeah,
on too.
well, we've got and we're working for stuff for you, and then a couple of our clients are growing right now. It's been fun to see how Gary V's encouragement for all of us to continue pushing our content out on the web actually helps.
Yes.
And, we've gone from doing a couple posts a week to a couple posts a day now for a couple of our clients. And it's changed. It changed their business.
Yeah.
It literally did.
And lots of businesses are like that as far as those kind of posts and stuff like that. And I think opening your own business and figuring out what kind of field and what advertising works for you and what free marketing you can use makes a huge difference. And the more you try and expose yourself and try and figure that out and really pay attention. I'll tell you one thing though, being a small business owner, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
No.
And especially as an entrepreneur, right? You're the one. You can't be like, oh, he did it. Wait, there's nobody else here but me. I'm the one that screwed it up.
Yeah, and even situations that you come into, and this is with any business, you're going to come into situations that you just don't have anybody to turn to. You
Right.
get to figure it out on your own.
Right.
And so,
Right.
problem solver.
Right. Well, and I think just going back to our mom was a problem solver.
She was.
Right.
Oh, that's a funny story.
Tell it.
So I remember coming home from school one day, and she's got the sledgehammer and knocking down a wall. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Absolutely.
Because I was always bitching that I wanted my own room.
Yeah.
Always wanted my own room, so we kind of had this big space. So she's like, I'm just going to take out this wall, put up like a fake wall, and then you and our other brother Jeremiah, we can each have our
own space. Yeah.
But she just showed us, hey, if you believe in yourself and believe that you can do anything, you literally can do anything. And that's why I think the three of us are
Right.
a lot the way we are.
Right. She just would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and not having a dad in the house all the time, she kind of filled both of those roles, right?
She really did, yeah.
And from discipline to encouragement, we all wanted to play football. And Mom's like, well, I don't know anything about football other than what I've watched on TV, but why don't I just volunteer to be the president of the football league?
Or the baseball coach.
Or the baseball coach, She just went and did it. And I think the older I get, the more I appreciate that as a woman, even in the 80s, she was like, no man's going to tell me what to do. I'm doing my own thing,
Not at all.
And she totally encouraged that in us to just believe in trying. There's nothing, even if you fail, you at least tried.
Yeah.
You at least gave it a really good effort and tried.
And if you pay attention, you're going to learn something, whether it's how to use a screwdriver or a screw gun or figure out how that nail and how to smack that hammer.
Yep.
There's so many different things that you're going to learn. Just pay attention and pick it up.
Yeah. You remember her dad, our grandfather, coming over after she had got that sledgehammer out? She was hammering. He's like, wait, I think this is a load-bearing wall. We can't do this. Remember? He was he encouraged her to do her thing, but he also wanted to okay, Sean, let's take a step back here and make sure we're not doing something that's endangering the whole house from falling down.
Which is very true.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit too, Joe, about a little more about Tacoma. And what do you see going to be happening in Tacoma? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What do you see Tacoma like in 10 years? Because I feel I've lived here 8 years now. And the way I got here is that you kept telling me you got to move to Tacoma.
Yep.
And we were in Seattle, and I'm like, Tacoma.
Yeah.
I've been to the Tacoma Dome. I've been out to the zoo.
The smell. There's a
it was a
nice
little
aroma.
stinky coming through the aroma. Yep. And I just like, I don't know. It's a gritty town. And I remember you inviting us to Tacoma and being like, hey, you should, there's a lot of areas in Tacoma you should check out. It's not all just the Tacoma Dome and the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And, we kind of fell in love with Tacoma.
Yeah.
And there was like so many good things. And this was 8 years ago, right? Things were just starting to pick up. Real estate market's kind of picking up. There's a lot of new stuff happening in Tacoma, new investment in Tacoma, new interest in Tacoma. There's business going on in Tacoma. And we're like, we should give Tacoma a chance, in potentially moving here. So we just came down and spent like a couple weekends in a row in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And we bought a great piece of real estate and then invested in commercial real estate. And we're investing our own money here in Tacoma. It's been great. And I'm just curious what you think.
And I don't think it's just you. I think a lot of Californians, because you were kind of initially from California,
Yep.
that's when you started thinking about it, or even this area in a way, and coming to check it out and then realizing, hey, this does have a lot of potential. Shoot, I do about 3 installations for Seattle people and Californians a week now. So
Really?
6.
Right.
Every single week for years in a row. So you can just picture if all those people, and just like I talked about before, this is why it's getting so cleaned up.
Yeah.
This is why it's getting so much better and more livable. And, the homeless situation is still bad, and that's in every city. But as far as it getting cleaned up and more of a livable city, it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and
it's
there's
exciting to see.
And there's more to do in Tacoma
yeah.
now, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we all like the casino, but we
Yeah.
want to do something other than just go to the casino.
Well,
all the time.
hikes and these beautiful sights. And like this last weekend, we went out to Mount Rainier,
Yeah.
spent the weekend out there. You can kind of get a little bit of every season. The snow, some ATVs. There's just so much to do. I love that kind of stuff.
Right. And I was telling someone the other day that was asking me about Tacoma. They're like, is Tacoma just a big city? Like, is it just like suburb after suburb kind of thing? Is it just a big urban sprawl? And I was like, no, actually, if you go just a little ways out of Tacoma, like back beyond where the Puyallup tribe is at, like back on Waller Road, back that way, it like turns to like farms.
Yeah.
There's like
it still
farms and
does.
stuff back there.
And that's kind of where I live. I bought my house there about 11 years ago.
Yep.
In unincorporated Pierce County, not a lot of businesses. You can still get to the downtown area in about 5 minutes or into Puyallup. Puyallup's still growing too. But you got all these cities just attached to Tacoma.
Yep.
And so you can kind of choose whatever area you want to live in, whether it's super dense populated areas or get out into the country.
Yeah. And we decided when we bought this the building that we're in, we decided that it should be, we're investing in downtown, and we're kind of between downtown and Hilltop. And, we just figured, man, if we're going to invest anywhere, we're going to invest in the community like right here where we're at. And so we don't have to drive far to get to work, right? And the buildings downtown and the, real estate market's doing quite well in Tacoma. It's been doing well for a decade. Really, it's been on its uptrend for a decade.
It really is. It'll be interesting to see, like, if you took a picture of this hill now, and then in 10 years from now, what this looks like. Holy smokes! I bet it's going
this
to be
whole
so much.
hillside all the way up to MLK and all the great things that are happening on MLK.
Yeah.
And
Got the transit coming in with the railroad.
Yep.
I mean, that is cool.
Yep. There's a lot going on. I'm excited about Tacoma. I'm excited about the opportunities. I've been kind of wondering if a big business like Amazon or a Boeing or something is going to, send some of their resources and new business stuff into Tacoma. That hasn't quite happened yet, but I feel like that stuff's coming.
Oh, definitely.
It's got to.
Yeah,
it's got to.
And if you go out to like the 176th Street area and Canyon Road, if anybody's familiar with that area between Puyallup and like Spanaway and Tacoma, there's just warehouse after warehouse getting thrown up.
The Frederickson.
Oh,
it's kind of
man.
like Frederickson area, right?
Business district.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of work out there too. Yeah. It's fun to like see a city develop. I know that some people are concerned about, we're losing the character of Tacoma. We're losing things of Tacoma. But I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of it's really good.
Yeah.
You're going to get some things that aren't great with it, right? Yeah. But I think you're also getting a lot of really good things to come with it.
I agree. I think there's more positive than negatives.
I do too.
And just like any city, you're going to have negatives and positives,
Yeah.
but it's definitely better.
And we're investing in our city, right? Like you're here long term, I'm here long term. We're putting our resources, our business, our tax dollars all go back into the city of Tacoma.
Yep. Our energy, our positiveness,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know what's ironic is that as kids, we never came to Tacoma. We just never did.
Well, we drove through it.
We drove
on
through
the way to the farm.
which everybody else drives through too. That's a lot of the way Tacoma's been for a long
More
time.
people are stopping now, though.
Are stopping.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Have you spent much time in your business, trying to expand into other areas of Tacoma?
well, I mean, we're pushing into Federal Way, Auburn, all these different. What I'm trying to do now is there's a lack of businesses that are putting up surveillance systems and
Yeah.
just kind of it feels like I'm more edged towards customers needing my help with, like I said before, kind of like the detective work and figuring out that kind of stuff and just making them feel more safe. Lots
Right.
of single moms and things like that just don't feel safe certain situations, and people are going to be like that forever. And no matter what you do, they're still going to feel like that. But that's kind of where I'm pushing a little bit more towards.
Yep.
Keep the other guys focused more on the locksmithing field and
Right.
step into that a little bit.
Right. What's the easiest car to get into and what's the hardest car to get into?
So, so lots of the Fords are not super difficult. And you got 3 different ways to do it. You can pull the door handle, the manual locks, or the power locks. And then you start getting to these 18-wheelers. And you
Yeah.
got to stand up, 10 feet off the ground
Right,
with
right.
one arm and try and unlock it.
Holding on to the
Yeah.
mirror or something. Yeah.
But one of the toughest cars is a BMW because it's got a system called a deadlocking system.
Okay.
So you have to push a button before you actually release the locks.
Oh.
Yeah, and you got about 30 seconds to do
And
that.
if you don't, then
Yeah, then it'll actually lock itself up, and then you have to have a key made for it.
wow.
So
okay.
if you ever lock your keys in a BMW, make sure you super know which locksmith it is and that they know what they're doing.
Got it. Good to know.
Mm.
And probably the newer cars that don't even have a keyhole or anything in the.
As far as the electric ones, like a Tesla and things like that, we haven't got a call for a Tesla before. And I have a buddy that owns one, and he says it's impossible. I'm sure at some point in time we will receive a call from some situation.
Yeah.
But they got the battery the size of a car, so maybe it'll never happen. Who knows?
Right. And now, oftentimes, like with my car, I can unlock it from my phone. So
Yeah.
that kind of keeps, if I do forget my keys, I've got another option of getting
And
into the vehicle.
People tell me all the time, there's no way I can lock myself out of this vehicle, and then they call 2 days later. And trust me, it can happen.
It can happen.
Many different ways.
Yeah. There seems like there's always work for you.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's always, you think like there can't be that many people like locking themselves out of their car or out of their house, but it just happens.
Yeah,
It just,
I mean, that stuff still comes, but expanding the business and moving in many different directions, I feel like my specialty is residential.
Yep.
Lots of times people will call up and they'll just say, hey, I just need my front door rekeyed. And then I come in and I'm like, well, you could change these locks to match these ones,
Yep.
and rekey these,
Right.
and put a
Have-
bedroom lock on.
or have one key that
Yeah,
goes
it
to
does
all the
all of
doors
them.
and
And so people just don't realize, and that's why I always kind of give like a roundabout price and say that I'll come in and give them free quotes and things like that.
Right. And then the security systems that go on top of it.
That's
I mean,
just a whole nother ballgame.
even though Tacoma is becoming a great city, there's still a need for security and having security cameras and things that can kind of like, lights that come on and
Yep.
security cameras. I mean, we have it here at our building too. Like just keeping your property secure sometimes is, helps
And
you
being
sleep at
able to
night.
see stuff, it definitely does help you sleep at night. I installed security cameras around my place over this last year, and it just makes me feel better, especially with my daughter.
Right, exactly. Well, with all of that, we're going to wrap up today, Joe. It's been awesome having you on the show. Let's do this again. I think this is a fun way to do it, and you're a great guest. So again, this is the Jake Nyman Show. We're focusing on business, on faith, on fun, all right here from the great city of Destiny, Tacoma, Washington. And we hope that you join in again and watch another one of our shows. We sure appreciate the BD Local Network for having us on today. And we hope that you have a great and awesome afternoon. And we'll see you next time here on the Jake Nyman Show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.